Kayla, I said play Bawsa Nova.
But that is Bawsa Nova.
No, girl, I meant Bawsa Nova.
Oh. This is Bawsa Nova with Kayla and Yaz
on Chapman Radio. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How are we doing?
Tell us right now. Immediately.
Drop it down in the comments. Today we have a special guest.
Would you like to introduce yourself, special guest?
Hi, I'm Thomas. I'm a business major.
Boo.
You're a PR and ad major. You're the same thing.
I'm not in the business school.
We're creative minds.
Yes.
Are you?
Within.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So today we're talking about the importance of lyrics, production, and visuals when it comes to music.
Yes.
Because I think visuals make up a great part of a project.
Yes.
Especially like during album rollouts and even after an album rollout, like when Beyonce did her Lemonade film.
Yeah.
I think I watched that. That added so much to the album. But we'll get into that.
Yes, we will. First question that we have for everyone, really. Where does the importance of lyricism fall today for listeners and artists? So, Thomas, where does lyricism fall for you?
I think the importance of lyrics essentially lies in the sense that all the songwriters who make music, who write these songs, they have their own particular meaning that they assign to these lyrics that usually comes from their lives, their past, their hearts, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, they have their own meaning attributed to that song. But then the way they sing the music as the vocals and the lyrics and the instrumentals themselves, they create this different meaning for each and every different listener. And so they then attribute their own meanings to that song. And so I think that lyricism is important, but not necessarily whatever the artist meant is really that important overall, because music is art, so it's subjective, so it's just whatever you want it to be. Yes. And I also think it's important to point out that a song is made up of a bunch of components, which are generally music, the lyrics, and then the vocals, how the lyrics are sung.
Yeah.
And a song without lyrics is still a song, but a song without any music is just a poem. And so I think that's also kind of important to consider.
Yeah.
He's getting retrospective with
it. But when you change your retrospective.
Life's all about perspective. We were talking about this in the car.
We were talking about this.
Okay. Yeah. Would you like to give your opinion?
Yes.
Your 2 cents?
Yes. I 100% agree with you. I feel like it is very personal to everyone and that lyrics are crucial. I guess from a personal standpoint, though, I am a very, melody, production, vocal, heavy listener. My emotional attachment to songs is definitely more from production and vocals. And I think that lyrics are they're needed. They are so needed, but more people need to talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with the both of you. Lyrics and melody definitely do go hand in hand for me.
Yeah.
I feel like
100%.
That's why I connect emotionally with music. It's when there's lyrics. Mm-hmm. I think obviously do listen to, just some instrumental stuff, but I feel like there's not really a possibility for me to connect with that unless it's very specific and it's kind of when something becomes the soundtrack of your life for a brief moment.
Yeah.
I think that's when I connect with instrumentals, but I think vocals are so important for me and so is the production. Obviously I like really simplistic things and sometimes I just let live performances. Ariana Grande just came out with the live performances of her new album Eternal Sunshine. So good. Yeah, I think
it's so good.
I'm definitely someone who takes both into account, and they're both play a really heavy part. I don't think I could choose between one or the other.
Yeah, that's real. They go hand in hand. Yes. What do you guys think good lyricism is?
Or who's like your favorite lyricist? Who's your favorite artist that you think just always writes a really good lyric?
My answer to that would be of Monsters and Men.
Okay.
Do you know Little Talks? That song that came out like a decade ago?
Sure.
Okay. They're an Icelandic like folk band.
Okay.
And so, especially with their first album, not less so with their second and third albums going forward, but with their first album, they use a lot of just really, really striking imagery in their lyrics, and it's just it's kind of just weird and peculiar. And I think that's really just fascinating is this different culture. I think I love to learn about different cultures across the planet, not just in our little Southern California ecosystem.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see how they write these songs and how they paint these images and these feelings that are both very particular to the weird little folk sense or folk style they're creating, and also these very human emotions. And then to combine that with, we're talking about the visuals a little bit, with their music videos, they made a lyric video for each and every song on their first album. And they're these really fantastical little music videos of different things, and they kind of fit into the songs. And as a whole, the album takes you on this really cool journey throughout just this weird little fantastic, I keep saying the words, but it's very Icelandic folk like stories, and it takes you through these. And I think that's very interesting to see how they take these visuals in the lyrics that are both striking to you, someone who's across the planet, if you're in Thailand or something, and also that's very close to home to them, and then also communicating that through the music videos. So
Yeah. I think that's beautiful, having that like universal.
Yeah.
Music is a universal language, guys.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Do you think that the visuals of that they attached to the music, do you think that like elevated your experience?
I think 100%. It definitely does.
Okay. What do you think,
That's
Kayla?
great. What do I think?
Who's your favorite lyricist?
Favorite lyricist? Frank Ocean.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
I think
Absolutely.
his lyrics are so, and first glance are so simple, but then when you really look into his storytelling and how purposeful he is with everything.
Double entendre
Yeah.
and everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
I think he's a great artist overall, but with lyrics especially, he really hits the mark.
I would totally agree with you. I'm just like a huge Frank Ocean fan. Like he's one of my favorite artists.
A complete 180 from
Frank, if you're listening.
But I think that's great.
Yeah, Frank, if you're listening, drop the new album, please.
No, give it to us. Give actually all 5 of them. So
Yeah.
all 5 of them.
I just also feel like he's had like his discography is so like it ranges.
Yeah.
And I feel like he can really just make anything deep. Like he has his popular songs, like Sweet Life, and he still finds a way to make them deep. Like Super Rich Kids, it's like a really fun poppy song, but then if you listen to it, it's like literally about like this rich kid whose parents are never home and then he commits suicide. But you don't know that because you're just dancing. One of my favorite Frank Ocean lyrics are inhale, inhale, in hell, there's heaven. Off of why am I forgetting? Solo. Great song. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
That's beautiful.
That is
Yeah.
beautiful.
Where
Where does lyricism, the importance of lyricism, fall for listeners and artists? Because do people try anymore? Obviously, people try to make lyrics meaningful.
Yeah.
But they're also we have shifted into like this
more diary-like lyricism, which I think there's an art in that of itself.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's leaning a lot more towards that, and I feel like more creativity, specifically in pop music.
Yes.
I can't speak for
like
the other genres.
Gracie Abrams, Billie Eilish, Sabrina Carpenter, Olivia Rodrigo.
Yeah.
All of them. I wouldn't say Chapel Roan. Some songs.
Yeah.
Like Kaleidoscope, maybe. Casual.
Casual.
Yeah. I think
Also,
there's more room.
I think in this hyper digital environment that we're in the music industry right now, especially moving into, we're going to talk a little bit of marketing here. I think the marketing standard has become to go on TikTok and play a 15-second clip of a song and hope it goes viral.
Yeah.
So I think for some artists, obviously there's definitely artists that still like try to make lyrics important and talk about their experiences, but I feel like there also is a part of the music industry that's really just tried to make something catchy that's going to get them streams, and they don't so much care about the lyrics.
Yeah.
I would disagree with both of you. I think also part of that's because I'm not on TikTok. I don't listen to a lot of the more popular pop music, and I listen to
that's good.
different genres than you guys.
Yeah.
I think we exist in a period of time where it's a lot easier for anybody to get their music out there, and that then leads to you don't really need to always have this super poppy sound or anything like you were talking about. And I think 50 years ago when the radio is all there was, you have to get that radio hit to really get that record deal, and so forth and so on. And I think that we live in this age where one of my favorite artists is literally just some guy working in his bedroom, and over the past 10 years he's now created his own record label for people who do the same thing, to kind of like give back, I guess would be a way to put that.
Yeah. Wait,
But
name drop.
Castle Beat.
Beautiful.
I think it's Spirit Goth Records or something like that.
Oh, that's sick.
And I do think that there's probably an argument to be said for these like mainstream pop artists. You're talking about the Diaries, like with Taylor Swift, as I'm sure many, many people are aware. And
Many.
No, I don't think so. Who is that?
I don't know. No idea. But
Yeah.
and TikTok too. But I also think that, for example, Yaz and I have talked about my Spotify Discovered Weekly because it's the complete opposite of hers. And I get a lot of good songs in my Discovered Weekly, and they're always hitting.
Yeah.
So
My Discover Weekly sucks. Spotify fix it.
whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? It's yours.
No, but sometimes it's like some weeks it's beautiful, but others it's just like what?
It's
what
my
is
release
this?
radar that always hits, but my Discover Weekly is really, really bad. Oh, I brought up this point to Kayla in the car, but Taylor Swift is obviously probably the biggest pop star right now.
Arguably, yeah. She's definitely up there.
So many people, and obviously so many people love her, and she thinks that she's so purposeful, which she is. She's a businesswoman when it comes to her craft. Let's be honest. Yeah, she's got it on lock.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure that a lot of people would claim that she's one of our greatest lyricists of this era. But obviously there would be a lot of people who disagreed. And a big part of it is emotional connection. But and music's not an objective thing. So if someone's labeled a good lyricist, not everyone's going to think that they're a good lyricist.
Right.
But I was talking to Kayla, and I was like, if so many people believe that she's like this amazing lyricist who, even if you didn't listen to the music and just read these lyrics and you were like, wow, that's poetry. Obviously there's going to be other people who are like, this sucks. This has no meaning.
Yeah.
Where do you think that disconnect comes from, besides just not listening to the music?
I think again, it's like everyone, and of course, hold that thought. Everyone's individual experiences. I don't know. I feel like a lot, of course, her audience is a lot of they connected with her through their teenage girl years.
That's true.
And I think that's where the attachment falls.
Attachment to the artist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
okay.
relatability with them.
Yes.
Yeah. Simple.
After talking to many Swiftie in my time and growing up listening to Taylor Swift, I think a lot of it's because they've grown up with this artist. Taylor Swift herself started when she was, I think, 17.
Yeah.
As an actual teenager. And so both her lyrics are because she grew up, too, with her music over the past almost close to, it's 15 years now. I don't know.
It's crazy. Yeah,
And
I think so, yeah.
her lyrics are very, I'm not a teenage girl. I didn't grow up being a teenage girl, but I've been told that they're very reflective of being a teenage girl, especially in the years from 05, 06, 07 to 2024.
Yep.
And I think it's very interesting to point out that kind of what I've observed is I think Taylor Swift's music was when she started, was very reflective of the time. Whereas, as you guys have pointed out, now she's more of the driving force of like changing the musical landscape. And I would argue that I think a lot of current pop artists are more influenced by Taylor Swift and how she has been creating her albums and creating the meaning behind that. And I do think part of Taylor Swift is that you kind of had to have been there and had these similar experiences and then grown through them or experienced any kind of similar experience to that. And I think if you're some 40-year-old dad in Milwaukee going to a local pub, you're going to be like, oh, I don't really see the meaning behind this.
Yeah.
So
I made this point of catchy production with meaningless lyrics tends to have its moment of popularity, and then eventually people forget about it, like basically any song that blows up on TikTok. Because learning about music, being a music business minor, and Kayla's a film music minor,
Get into it.
Learning about music from a business standpoint, you learn when you're selling that reused and depersonalized is bad, and vulnerability and relatability is good, because you want to make a connection with your listeners.
Yeah. I agree that simpler sounding lyrics can give more room for vocals and production to be the main storytelling force. An example I thought of was Session 32 by Summer Walker, it's so good. Which, side note, I hate that I hate when songs with so much meaning and
become overplayed.
Yeah, they become
on the
overplayed
internet
and become like a meme.
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
social media.
Yeah,
which we can talk about later. But Summer Walker, for that song, her vocals and melody shine, in my opinion, and the minimal production on this song also adds to the atmosphere of all of it. I think it's very powerful. I listened to that song on repeat for like years.
Yep,
Yeah.
all of middle school.
Yes. Threw away your love letters.
Thought it'd make me feel better.
Finally got you out my bed, but I still can't get you out my head. Oh.
that's a bar.
Thank you. And we do talk about Ariana Grande so much on this podcast, but she is so influential in Yaz in my life. So, but there maybe hot take, possibly, but in my opinion,
here it comes.
I feel like, but actually, I don't know. Let us know, guys, listeners. Let us know. But I think that Ariana Grande's strength is her vocals and production, which is why I feel like I gravitate towards a lot of her music. And a lot of her, don't get me wrong though, a lot of her lyrics can be very clever and honest. But if it weren't for her vocals and her production skills, I think her lyrics alone wouldn't be enough to carry her career.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I mean, because she started off as an actor.
Yes.
And then she did 13.
Yeah.
And then she kind of leaned into music. I definitely think she went into the music industry just because no one had heard her really sing before 13. They had only seen her act. And she did this really annoying voice, obviously, when she was on Disney. I think when she broke in... Oh, Nickelodeon, you're so right.
She's not on
When she broke into, like, the musical theater scene, I think that was, like, that was, like, her first impression where she was being herself to, like, an audience.
Yeah.
And I think people just expected, wow, it's like this 14-year-old girl with some pipes. And so then when she, like, went in to do music, everyone was like, she's got it unlocked. She does her thing seriously. I think... And she was given so much credit. Same thing with Renee Rapp. When Renee Rapp started blowing up, everyone was like, well, obviously she's an amazing performer because she was on Broadway before anything else. Yeah. Going back to your point about the production, Eternal Sunshine, which we've mentioned prior, so much on this show.
And that's okay. There's a lot to be spoken about for a single album, I think.
Yes, I think that, again, it's a mix of things. You and I are so connected to it. Yeah. I think if you're an Ariana Grande fan, you've been there since the beginning. And you've gone through, like, all the things that she's gone through, like, 'cause she's gone through a lot. Like, the Manchester thing, Mac Miller, like, it's all a lot. And listening to this album, I feel like this was supposed to be, like, her just... And then now her divorce, I think this was just supposed to be, like, her putting everything out there. Yeah. And when you first listen to it, it's like, whoa, I know what this is about, and it's crazy. Yeah. And then also Max Martin being a producer on this album.
Just crazy.
Max Martin is like the producer. Do you know who Max Martin is?
Nope.
That's okay.
He's the pop producer, specifically of the early 2000s, I believe.
Yeah. Which still resonates today. Should we talk about that?
Before we talk about that, I do want to ask, you've listened to Eternal Sunshine,
Nope.
have you?
I don't start on Ariana Grande at all.
And that's okay. And that's okay.
That's a lie. He's listened to True Story.
This
No, I
is a
haven't.
Yes, you
true
have.
story about all that. What do you think
No, I
about
haven't.
Ariana Grande as an artist, though? Have you, what songs have you listened to?
What's your impression?
Yes.
I Don't Do Drugs by Doja Cat is the only song I listen to.
that's
Really? That's a good
Oh,
song.
That's
and
really
is
good.
this
That's
on
really
a
good.
Weekend song? Am I?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
one too.
Save Your Tears.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly that.
I was going to talk about something very different than Ariana Grande.
No,
Shoot.
go ahead.
I think it's interesting because we're talking about the production and the visuals and the lyrics and so forth and so on.
Yeah.
You know, one of the best-selling albums of all time is Bat Out of Hell by Meatloaf. Have either of you heard of that?
No, but
Exactly. That's my point.
Yeah.
And it's still, like, I think top 5 best-selling albums of all time, which is crazy.
Oh, wow.
And
Wait, say the title again.
Bat Out of Hell.
Top
Meatloaf.
5 selling albums of all time?
Oh, wow.
Crazy.
And it's this very operatic, it's like 1977, it's very operatic, which is just a weird thing to say, operatic like rock album with the vocals and everything on it.
No,
and,
but it makes sense. I see it.
But nobody really listens to the lyrics of those songs. It's all about the production of this just very unique, super unique, basically just to that, to him, production. And then on the other hand, you have Bruce Springsteen, who's very, very famous.
One of your favorite artists. Correct.
Exactly. Yes. And he's known for being this very working class, blue collar singer representing the heartland of America, like the Rust Belts and everything like that. That's really where he got his start. That's everything about him, I would argue. And so that's where he got a lot of his popularity, is with these lyrics that a lot of people could relate to growing up in the 70s and 80s, this kind of latchkey kid era, I would say, pseudo, and trying to run away from your home and so forth and so on. But his biggest hit, Dancing in the Dark, is just a very fun, dancey 80s pop song. But lyrically, it's about how he's super frustrated that he can't get a hit and that he doesn't know what to write a song about. But nobody listens to his lyrics at all. Kind of what you're talking about with that Frank Ocean song. It's the exact same vibe of these really dark lyrics
Right.
that are then counterbalanced by this super poppy hit. And that's from 40 years ago, from I think 1984, I want to say that album came out, Born in the USA. And I think that's super interesting to have. You know, I think you guys have all this current popular stuff, but the same thing can be said 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't history repeat itself? On that topic, we were talking about early 2000s music. Obviously, early 2000s music is still really popular now. I feel like it's what you listen to when you're about to go out. At least what we listen to when we're about to go out. We play some Pitbull.
Yes.
Fireball.
Yes. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Woo.
You could, and obviously people do listen to music now to get hyped to go out.
Yeah.
But like at the frats, you know, they'd be playing that early 2000s music.
yeah. Yes.
Why are we gravitating towards that? Is it just because that's the stuff we grew up with and it's like throwback?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also,
so.
the internet and so forth and so on is controlled, I would argue, by the millennials and Gen Z, who both listen to that music. And I think that's partially why, is that they're in control of that, and then that creates an echo chamber online. And we all like the music, so there's not a lot of influence there per se, but it's just we like the music, so everybody keeps playing it and we keep hearing it.
Yeah.
It's true.
So
It's true. Now that you bring that up, I think it kind of is universal because obviously, like, everyone has their own music now. You know, some people listen to rap, people listen to pop, people listen to indie. But it's like if you play Fireball in a public setting, most people are going to have a good time.
They also know it.
This is true.
or like
Yeah.
Unwritten.
Unwritten.
And the rest is still
as written.
Lisan al-Gaib. Lisan al-Gaib. Oh. The people need to know.
Tag yourself. I'm that sand rat.
Aren't we all? I'm that big worm. What is it? What are they called?
The sandworms.
Oh my god, guys.
Tune back in later on Bawsa Nova when Benjamin Price is on. We'll be talking about soundtracks from movies.
Yes, we will.
Sometimes Kayla and I walk around the house and we do the scream from Dune. Anyways, nostalgia, yeah, definitely plays a huge part in what people attach themselves to, and it doesn't even have to be like 10 years ago, back when we were like 4. That's not right.
No. Yeah,
almost
we're 14 right now.
Yeah,
perfect.
I have this memory of summer 2016-17 being so great. It wasn't
beautiful.
great. What was I doing? Sitting at home about to go into middle school? Mm-hmm. But because like everyone had just released such a... Is that true?
No, sorry. I'm just thinking about how like... What was I doing? Middle school.
Since everyone had... It was a mediocre summer, but everyone had just released such a fantastic album, like Control by SZA, Damn by Kendrick Lamar, Culture by Migos, Flower Boy Tyler the Creator, Views by Drake ruled 2016-17. For me thinks.
No,
Starboy, Anti, Rihanna, get back in the studio, girl.
And she's in. She's in, Thomas. Let that sink in.
So...
Let that sink in.
Let that sink in.
Yeah, I wasn't doing anything 2016-2017. I was rotten at home. But because I had amazing music to associate with that time, it makes me crave going back to that moment just to relive listening to that music for like the first time. Same thing with summer 2021. I literally always end up bringing this up as a point, just in like regular normal life. I heard so many projects come out at once that were just like bangers back to back. Planet Her, Doja Cat.
Yes.
Call Me If You Get Lost, Tyler the Creator, Happier Than Ever, Billie Eilish, Solar Power, Lord, Sour, Olivia Rodrigo, Donda, Kanye West, The Off-Season, J. Cole.
Oh, and that's beautiful.
That was my experience. I think when I have something to associate music with, like a time, it makes me crave going back there. Mm-hmm. When I have a little soundtrack to accompany my life for a little bit.
And isn't that beautiful? It really is.
Shout out to Yaz Nation. Yaz
Nation came in freaking
It's
islands.
the Cayman Islands actually today.
Really?
Get into it. Yeah. For me, not many albums, I feel, take me back to a specific time. But actually, that's a lie. Some do. Mm-hmm. Gemini writes.
Oh yeah, Bad Habits.
Back. How does it go? I wish I knew. Oh, I wish I knew you wanted me. I wish I knew. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember being in Mammoth and listening to that on repeat.
Oh, I was like, I had to volunteer for my high school. I was watering trees with my friend Tammy, and like on the way home every week, I'd listen to Gemini Writes.
That's beautiful.
I remember showing my I remember showing my dad my favorite song off the album, which I'm forgetting now, and he was like it's chill, it's good. Which
Michael,
Michael, my father's name is Michael Alipio Romero. I got so excited by it because we have very different music tastes. Mm-hmm. And usually when I ask him about a song, he's like, it's good, but with no expression. No expression. I'm like, okay, yeah, you can just say you don't like it. But yeah, Gemini writes Seasons by Wave to Earth, which is so like, okay, SoCal Asian, like it's
come on, Irvine.
Get into it. My friend Ina and I listened to that song as we were saying goodbyes and leaving for college, and it's so visceral every time I listen to that now. Yeah,
because it's just, you get like this super cut. For me,
exactly.
There's like songs where I just get like super cuts in like in my head, and I see them so vividly.
Yeah,
because I had music to associate with that time.
It's crazy, actually. It's like in IRL leitmotif, because you get to like see how different or like similar things are right now, and it's just like it hits that much harder.
Do you have a moment that you only remember because there was music to be attached to it?
No.
Oh,
I try
okay.
very, very hard to not have music become attached. So 2 things. One, I listen, like whatever music I start listening to, I just keep listening to it. I don't like stop listening to it. So music never takes me back because I'm still listening to it. It's always continuous.
IRL leitmotif. IRL leitmotif. Forever.
And I also try hard to not let music kind of be attached to a time or a moment. Sometimes to people, memories, but I try not to for the most part. Only because if something ever bad happens, then it ruins the song, and then that sucks.
Okay.
And so I make a
Okay.
point not to let that happen.
He's strategic with
He's
it.
strategic.
I actually, yeah, I agree. I feel like that's why I say only sometimes, because some of these memories are like, they make me sad. Make me sad.
Yeah, definitely.
But
Now, all that being said,
yes.
Lumineers, one of my favorite bands. I saw them in concert last year with Justin. Actually, he was there.
Beautiful.
Justin
Shout out Justin
Doyle.
Doyle.
Justin Doyle.
3, 2,
He better be listening. There will be a pop quiz after this. He's
in-
at
Yeah.
work.
He's in the wage cage right now.
Wage cage is crazy. Oh god. 3, 2, 1. Justin Doyle. Okay, I'm gonna do it one more time. 3, 2, 1. Justin
Justin
Doyle.
And
Continue.
so they opened with Cleopatra,
Okay.
if I remember correctly. But then they switched to Flowers in Your Hair. And Flowers in Your Hair is the first song off their first album. And when I got the first album in like 2011, 2010, I would just put it on and just let it play through. So it'd always start with that one song. And I never associated that moment. But in the concert, when that, I think it starts with like a mandolin, it opens and like all these memories just came flooding back to me. I started crying. It was really cool. It was a great
That is
great
beautiful.
concert.
That's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Is that the only concert you've ever cried at?
Oh.
I cried a lot at that concert. I cried at Bruce Springsteen.
What about you, Kayla?
I didn't think I had any sort of attachment to Girl Song by Biba Doobie. Like when I first listened to it, I was like, I could definitely like see how this is a very emotional song for Biba Doobie and many other people. But then me personally, I was like, did not feel that much of a connection to it. But then I saw her live, and there was a single tear rolling down my face. I was like, oh shit.
Cartoon. Aw.
Which is no, literally, it's so interesting how it can just like hit you out of nowhere. Yeah, out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Went to the Eras tour, which is so funny because I feel like whenever we talk about Taylor Swift, it's like
In a negative.
yeah, which is like not like I have such.
I'm just sick of her getting all the
emotional-
awards.
Yeah, we gotta highlight other artists.
Yeah.
honestly, guys, let's do
Just
better.
kick the geezers out of the recording academy.
Exactly.
They've
Get
had
them
their
out.
time.
Other time. No, but yeah, I have such an attachment to some of her songs. It's crazy. I went to the Eras tour and I sobbed during the whole opening or the whole like first song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I didn't go to the Eras tour, but we all went to go watch, our friend group went to go watch the movie. We watched it twice. I did cry during You're On Your Own, Kid.
Oh God.
That got me good.
Real.
She got me
Real.
good.
She gets you good during the movie. Was sobbing at Tolerate It.
Yes, and the visual to go along with it, where she's sitting at this big table, and there's this guy sitting on the other sitting on the other side of the table, and she's sitting on the opposite end.
Yeah.
and she's like
They're having
ripping
dinner.
everything like off. Yeah, they're having dinner, and she's like ripping like the tablecloth and like throwing everything, and she's like climbing over like the table, like begging him to acknowledge her. And it's so simple, but I think it's like, again, like the mix of the lyrics and knowing like what the song is about, and then seeing this, I think all of it together is just,
It's so good.
it's really powerful to watch.
And it's also a really stark contrast to a lot of the other songs that she puts in the tour that are very like I feel like flashy is not the best word for it, but like
The whole show is flashy, though.
yeah, but it's like
For sure.
specifically with like lighting and stuff. I think.
Oh, yeah.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
like
No
you said,
strobe
a lot.
lights.
Yeah, come on. No, but some of her other like My Tears Ricochet. She had really vivid visuals.
Yes.
But with Tolerated, it was a lot
Yes.
simpler, and I think that
It's definitely, like, one of the ones I remember.
yeah,
Like, one of the few I remember.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And I think that they had the piano instrumental, the piano intro right before, right?
Yeah.
That hits
Yeah.
too hard.
Yeah, I think
Too hard.
when artists take a meaningful approach to their art
Yeah.
in a visual manner. I wrote my Dodge essay on the importance of Childish Gambino's rollout for Because the Internet, and how like it spiked his sales and other people started to copy him and it spiked their sales too. And like really popular artists like Kanye West and like Mac Miller like declined in sales the next year. Whereas like smaller artists, not small artists, but like smaller artists, and like I think J. Cole is a smaller artist objectively than Kanye West, his sales went up. But anyways,
Yeah.
I think so. I wrote my Dodge essay on that and the importance of a rollout and creating a world for your listener, because I think when you create this whole big thing for a listener to decode, you're allowing them to create an emotional connection through by making them feel like they're a part of something.
Yeah.
With like Childish Gambino specifically, he was playing this like character, which was the character that the entire album is based off. It's called, he names him the Boy, and he was going to like interviews dressed the exact same way, like this little hat, this little jacket, this white t-shirt, and everyone was like, does he not have a change of clothes? But no, it's just because he was playing this character that eventually people caught on to. And he was releasing like on Instagram like these notes about like having self-doubt and like feeling like no one liked him. And people eventually figured out that it was a bit, and he like made a whole website to decode, to like post like snippets of what was coming up, and people were like decoding it. Was I in that moment keeping up with all of that? No, but after I found out about it, it made me so interested, and I felt like I was in on something.
Yeah.
It's like being in on a little joke, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think when artists take a purposeful approach to something like that, and it doesn't even have to be this whole big rollout, but I think that even like Travis Scott's Astroworld and like The Weeknd with After Hours, even if like you didn't listen to the album, I didn't listen to the album, but like his whole Super Bowl performance,
Ooh,
that was
yeah.
crazy.
That was
because people
really
were like,
good.
what is he doing? Like, is this like a whole bit? Because he was kind of like being like, not radio silent, but like he was like posting these pictures of like him with like all the surgery and like the weird face, and people were like, what is this?
People were like, I remember seeing those and being like, no way. I thought it was real for a second. I was like, guys.
No, I probably did too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like when you take a meaningful approach to something like that, you're creating something for your listener to grab onto and be like, and want to figure out what is happening.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just human curiosity to want to be in on it, you know?
Yeah.
That creates the possibility for nostalgia in the future because you've dedicated so much time to something.
Good
Yeah.
tie in there.
What are your thoughts on this, Thomas? Are there any like specific artists that have done similar things where for you where
No.
it's like
No?
That's okay.
We're in two different worlds.
But have you even like ever watched like I've had this conversation with the both of you. I think music videos can make a bad song good.
Well, if we're talking music videos,
Yeah.
that's a whole other.
No, because I mean it's
Visuals
a visual.
in
It's
general.
a visual, yeah.
Yeah.
Like visuals in general, like
It's usually I just think this is a good song. Oh, this is a great music video too. But I think it's interesting the kind of music videos people create, and I think
yeah.
someone who has no idea what it takes to actually produce a music video. Mm-hmm. For example, it's one song that I love. It's called Reds by Lav, L-A-V. And very small artist as far as I can tell, super, super small. And the music video for the song, not even one of their biggest songs, it has marionettes in it. And I'm like, where did this person get the budget for these marionettes? Mm-hmm. And the song has this very dreamy, kind of ethereal, it's a love song. It's got this vibe to it. And so the music video is kind of abstract. It's kind of, who's the guy who made Twin Peaks? David Lynch is kind of weird. I mean, not really, but it's got like
Yeah.
a lot of red curtains, like Twin Peaks. It's just got these kind of weird vibes to it.
Yeah.
That complements the song, I'd say.
Ominous.
Whereas meanwhile, it's other songs that I found on the same Spotify Discover Weekly. It's called Speed of the Sound of You by Peter McPoland.
Peter McPoland is really good.
Peter,
News at
it's-
9 is a really good song.
Really? I only know this one song.
Wait, say the title again.
Speed of the Sound of You. And it's a very simple, very happy love song. And it's very just kind of poppy. And the music video is basically just him on a bike, just kind of riding around somewhere like in Chicago or something, somewhere with a big lake. And he's kind of dancing around. And it's very simple. And I appreciate that a lot. I love that. I think it's just very cute. And then one of my favorite songs, it's called All Over by Cruiser. And the music video for that is this. It's a really cool music video. As Dodge Kids, you'll love it. Where it's basically they have like a visual representing a movie. Like let's say it's like Luke Skywalker and then Princess Leia, and then it's a very drawing, and then it transitions into different other movie characters, and it transitions into different scenes, and it's super fluid, and it's really cool, and it's just the amount of time and effort that would have had to go into that. Like it transitions from Psycho, where the Bates is attacking the lady through the shower thing, it's from the side, to then Terminator, where it's Sarah Connor shooting the Terminator, and then into The Shining, where what's-his-face is hitting the axe into the door. And it's super cool how just smooth it is.
Yeah.
And this band made that song, wasn't a big hit, and then just kind of disappeared. And that music video clearly took a lot of effort.
Yeah.
So I think it's just fascinating where these different bands
Yeah.
get these budgets for music videos, because then, I'm sure there's some Ariana Grande or Billie Eilish or Taylor Swift music video that's very low budget at the same time,
Yeah, definitely. Lunch, I would say.
Like
It definitely wasn't low budget, but it's simplistic.
Yeah.
Even the NDA music video, where it's just like her
Yeah.
walking with like headlights behind her, and she's
Yeah.
like, she looks drunk. She's like swaying from side to side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Simplistic music videos for sure. All right, let's close out by asking this final question for you, Thomas. So you're a person, as far as I know, that will listen to any song and add it to their playlist. And I think you've told me that I think also you just said this on air earlier, you find beauty in every song.
There's always something of value in every song.
Can you elaborate on that a little more?
Let us know.
Yeah.
Let the people know.
Well, I think, so we've talked about the different parts of a song. We've talked about how the lyrics and the vocals and the music and blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And I think the beauty of music is that subjective. And I think for me, at least, there's always, in almost every song, I'm always like, oh, that's a good line. Or I like the sentiment. Or I like this one beat drop, this one tiny bit in this Take song, or something like that.
Not Take.
And I think there's just a little component of each and every song. And sometimes that can change. In the car the other night, when I put on that Vietnamese song from the 90s, which was a cover of the same artist's song from 1976, 74, 75, 73, somewhere in that era at the end of the Vietnam War. And I'm not going to go into how I found that song, but I've had that song for like 2 years now. And I think it's a really pretty song. I like her voice a lot. And eventually, it took a long time, but I got that song translated because I knew some Vietnamese guy. And the song is talking about how her partner, her lover, her husband, her boyfriend, whoever, went off to war, but he's going to come home in the fall. And apparently in Vietnam, there's a bunch of purple flowers that bloom in the fall. And so when she sees these purple flowers bloom, she's like, oh, he's going to come back. And it's a very sweet song. And so this started off as just, the bit is that, it's this, of course, I would find this random Vietnamese song. And it's a good song. I like the way it sounds. But then over time, it's since, I like this, I think it's got a really sweet sentiment to it. Or, let's see, what's another good example of that?
I just asked because I'm like a person, I can't do that. Like you add every song. Like I feel like I've showed you so many songs and you'll like add them to your playlist. I'm not that person. Like if I just like don't like a song, I'm just like, I don't really ever care for it again.
That's good though.
Yeah.
Because I used to be like, after I listen once and don't really like it, I try to convince myself to like it, but then it just annoys me every time it plays in my playlist. But now I've gotten better at just like deciphering whether or not. this is my vibe and alt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with that, thank you guys so much for listening. And thank you, Thomas, for
Yes.
giving your time.
Thank you for having
you.
me on. I appreciate it.
Yes,
It was
of
a lot fun.
course.
We liked your takes. We liked
Yeah.
hearing from you.
Yeah. You were like the perfect guest to have on.
Yeah.
Just because I like the question that I just asked you now, I'm just very intrigued by how you can find something beautiful in even the tiniest thing in a song.
Yeah.
And still care to listen to it
Well, yeah.
again and again.
It's great.
And at the end of the day, if people show me a song, they're taking the time out of their day to show you a song, to show you one of their interests. And I think that's super important. I think people don't do that, which is to take the time to listen to other people's interests and passions.
Yeah.
That's something I always try to do. I think that's why I always get a lot of weird people talking to me at parties, because I listen to them and be like, oh, tell me about XYZ.
So time to cut that.
Yeah. We're done with that.
On that note, I hope you all have a good rest of your day.
Yes.
See you next week on Monday.
Bye, guys.
Who's our guest? Benjamin Price?
Or
Benjamin
Gia.
Thomas Price.
I think it might be Gia. Gia Lung.
Gia, we'll be talking about concert etiquette. Tune in
Yes.
next week. We have a lot to say on that because some of y'all be too tall to be standing in the second row.
Come on now.
Okay.
Thank you guys.